Hey guys, welcome back to Project E. You know, I just got done mapping this lake, which was super cool. Well, when I got, it's a lake I haven't fished before. When I got out here, man, there's brush piles out here and fish. And so now I'm gonna try to do another video of showing you what these things look like right here on that screen right there. I'll catch them maybe on this drop shot. Obviously, I just caught that one. Maybe something else, but I'm gonna try to teach you guys the size, what you're looking at, as far as size, how to compare it. I'm gonna try to teach you what I know. It may not be a lot, you may already know it all, but I'm gonna try to teach you what I know about looking at these fish on my locator, and we'll see how it goes, guys. That was fun. We got it started right there with the fish right off the bat. When I'm trying to teach somebody, what size you're looking at when you see a mark on your screen, the number one thing that I can tell you is to drop your bait down there. When you go to drop your bait, now your boat's got to be still, can't be moving really fast. When you go to drop that bait, there my bait goes. You can see the line. Let me back up a little bit so I can see the bait right there. I'm not directly underneath it. I got a pretty windy, there they are right there. That is the weight and my bait going up and down on my screen. So if I was to hold it still and get it right underneath the cone, all right, right there, you can see it going up and down. Took me a minute to get it in the cone, but I'm holding it still, and you can see there's what, two colors right there? There's a fish coming up to look at it. Now, so that's my bait. That line right there is my bait, because when I lift it, it goes away. There it is back. Now I've got a fish in there messing with it. And there's the that's why it got so much thicker right there, because I had a little old fish in there trying to eat on it. But those dots right there, that is my bait. So, right there, that's not real big. We're in just 20 foot of water. Let's get over a fish and see what a fish looks like. There's a fish in the down scan. That's behind my boat. Oh, there's a fish right there. Just swam through. I would not say that's a very big fish. He's just basically one color. See if I can get back over him or if he's moving. He's moving. Good example of fish right there on side imaging. You can see him out there, just those white specks. That is a perfect example of fish. There they are now on 2D. I just got over them for a split second before I scared them. You can see them right there on 2D. So there they are again on side imaging. You can see them over there on the left. That's a drop off. That shade right there, that's a drop off. Those are fish. This is shallower, that's deeper. So let me scoot over. We'll just see if we can get on top of them. Those are kind of looking like crappies. And a bunch of them. There they are again, another great example of them. There's the drop off. They're up high. There's my bait, just came into the screen. There's a fish underneath it. See that fish underneath it? I'm gonna move my bait up and down so you can see it. There's a couple fish down, I've just dropped it. They're biting it. I'd say those are bluegill. There might be a bass or two in there. See, he's hitting my rod, look at my rod. That's my drop shot right there. Prime example of it coming up and down. See, that's a great example. I got it right in the cone. You can see the color of it versus the color of the fish. So, if I pull forward, it's about to go out of my cone. Now it's back in my cone, now I'm gonna drop it. Now it just went straight down. You're not seeing it because it went down. That looks like a bigger fish on the bottom. So now I'm below all those fish and you can't see my bait, but they're biting it. Look at my rod. Look at that, look at that. You can see this worm is all laid up. That's just bluegill, 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 bluegill. It's a better looking fish on the bottom right there. One thing about it, like if you're gonna fish vertical, you can't go too fast. I mean, I wanna get in a hurry and go to the next point, but as soon as you see something, you're already past it. You gotta kind of lay off that trolling motor, take it kind of easy. That sure looks like a fuzzy bottom right there. Anytime I get that fuzzy bottom, that could be a fish relating really close to the bottom. Just a prime example of a fuzzy bottom. A lot of times, yeah, oh gosh dog it, my veil wasn't closed. It was fish, dadgummit. Fuzzy, see, like there's not a solid bottom right there, and it's one of two things, you know. Well, there's a couple things. It could be grass, it could be on a drop off, you know, a little short drop off, or it's fish really close to the bottom. Anytime you got that fuzzy bottom like that, there is a pile of something down there. I have to say a lot of those are bluegill and crappies. I'm going to say that fuzzy bottom is actually a drop off, because you can see the false line below it, so I'm really close to a drop off right there. So part of that cone is reading the 20 foot, part of that cone's reading the 15 foot. That's what creates that fuzzy bottom right here on this spot. But there still could be fish. There looks like there's fish tucked in there. A bunch of them behind my boat. One thing I love in my boat, I've got a transducer set up in the back and one in the front, so it really broadens what I'm seeing. You know, by having one in the back and one in the front, I can see when I'm close to the drop off, I can see fish in the back, you know. It just helps me see a lot more by having transducer front and back and looking at both of them here off this front unit. There's a fish right there. It looks like a good one. It's got quite a bit of color to it. So I just went over it without getting on my trolling motor. I'm just gonna drop back, you know, 5, 6 feet. I'm still drifting this way, but that fish was right back there. There's another one up high. One thing we hadn't figured out yet in sonars is when you got a single fish, is it a catfish, is it a carp, or is it a big old bass? I'm gonna say it wasn't a bass, because I would have caught it. It's one thing I've noticed about fish. You know, a lot of times when they're so tight to the bottom, you know, you go over them and it makes them almost come up, you know, like that's what happened right there. I saw them, I didn't see anything on the front sonar, but when I went past it, they, you know, they'd given them enough time to come up off the bottom. They heard a sound, they heard something, so now they've raised up just a little bit to where I could see them on the back sonar. There he is. So I saw that one on my back depth finder. Just a little bitty fella. Just show you right here, that's those fish right in there. 13 feet. There's one suspended. Wonder if I can catch him. Got one down, just suspended. I want to see if I can catch him. I can get my worm rig. Oh, hurry up. I got out, I lost him. Oh, something come up. Yeah, lost him. Oh, I do, I got one right there looking at it, right there looking at it, right there underneath my bait. I was just fixing to take off. I have found so much of the time, one of the biggest mistakes I make with a drop shot is I move it too much. You know, the stiller I can hold it, generally speaking, the more bites you can get. I've got one sitting there looking at it right now. Nope, he left. Some in the back, behind me. See him right there on that drop. Cool shot though. Perfect shot of some fish. Oh, there's a bite. Oh. Prime example of the thermocline right there. The thermocline's right at 23 foot. You can just see it right there on that down imaging. Perfect. Just in reference to that thermocline, just, you know, just to make sure everybody understands what we're talking about. Every body of water has one. It's a temperature change, you know, from a really drastic temperature change. And I've always been told there's not much oxygen below it. I don't know how that's true, because there are lakes that has a thermocline like Beaver that you'll catch those stripers way below it. So I don't understand how it all works, but I do know in bass fishing, I try to fish right above that thermocline. And today, everything's been right above it. There is a pile of fish right there. Not very big, but there's a bunch of them. Oh, there's one right there. My drop shot right there above 15 feet. That fish was a little shallow, I spooked him. There's another one down there at 20. Big old bluegill. I told you there's some big bluegill in this place. I knew some of them fish were bluegill. That's a big one. Look at the size of that sucker. He's pretty. That might be a bass. A couple bass mixed in with them. There is a prime example of the fish coming up right there. You can see that line coming up right there. That's this fish that I just reeled in. Some fish right. Here's my drop shot going down. You can see it perfect, the weight and the bait. And I had a bite immediately right there. Some more right there beside it. There's one just came down. He's biting it. Got him. So there he is coming up. And he come off. They're just not very big. But that's drop shot, and that's like, let's see if we can do it again. Can't quite see it going down. There's a bunch of them down there. One great thing about drop shot, and you just can catch every fish in the lake, I feel like. There it went down. I'm gonna try to hold it up a little bit so you guys can see. Well, now you can just see all those fish. They're right there looking at it. That's those lines. My drop shot's right there amongst them. Should be getting bit any minute. I like to hold it still. I'm not doing a lot with it. I'm just, every now and then I move it a little bit to make sure one doesn't have it. Oh, there's crappie in here. Looky there. Sweet, big old slab. I had to think some of those fish were crappie. That's a pretty fish, isn't it? We got it all going on now. Crappie, bluegill, bass. Now they're all gone. We scattered them. Maybe we'll catch a bass. There's a better fish, maybe. Oh yeah, they're following it down. They all followed it down. And they're right there on it. Oh, he hit it. Dadgummit. There's one up high. I saw that fish up high and I just reeled up to him and held it there and he ate it. That's my drop shot coming down. That's it, just leveled off. Something looking at it. There he just come up and looked at it and he bit it and he went back down. That is crazy. I felt him bite, felt him come up. Right there. That's where he bit and I didn't get him. He just snipped at it. I still got him right there. There's still something looking at it. That's where I just raised it. I just lowered it right to those. He's biting it again. Must be bluegills. Oh man, there's a good one. Gotten up too big a hurry again. Get out there. Instead of making a bunch of noise and stopping that trolling motor right on top of that fish, I just dropped it down. Looked like a pretty decent one. He had multiple colors in him. Look at them. Look at them all. They're not very big, but there's a bunch of them. He is right on my bait. Come eat it. Oh, he's going down. Wow, he's looking at it. Oh man. Oh man, come on, come on, come on. He's little. They're all over it. I mean, they're just sitting there smelling it. That'll be bluegill. There's one. That is so cool. That's such a huge advantage having that transducer in the back of my boat, because when I get in a hurry and I go over a bunch of them, I can just pitch right back there underneath the mercury and catch one. It was those fish right there that I saw. Prime example of some shad right there. You know, you can just see those shad. There's two small groups of shad. A bunch more right up at the surface. A couple fish underneath them. Brush pile to my right. A prime example of one. You can see the shadow and all the fish in amongst it. Prime example of my drop shot right there. For a split second, it was in the cone. Uh-oh, that's a little bit better one. Maybe? Oh yeah. I saw that fish right there behind me, then I backed up and I caught him. He was right on the bottom. That's a good one, isn't it? Come here, buddy. Come here, come here, come here, come here. That's so cool. So cool. Such a fun bite when you feel that little tick. Long and lean. Oh, I hooked him good too, didn't I? Pretty fish. Thank you, bud. Man, that fish really told me something. You know, I get in such a hurry when I see him on my locator. You want to shake it and move it and shake it, and if they don't bite in 10 seconds, you know, you're always moving on or the boat's drifting, you know. And that time I really was letting it sit there. I was just taking it easy and just letting it sit there. I wasn't in a hurry. It just goes to tell me I've been moving way too fast. Let's talk about the bite just a little bit on the drop shot. You know, we've talked about it before. We did a drop shot grass video, but you know, the bite, there's a couple different ways that it happens. One, you just completely lose feel of your weight. It's just like somebody cut your line. That's a fish that's got it and coming up. You know, another bite is just a very slight tick or heavier pressure. You know, a lot of times, you know, if you're using a 1/4 ounce weight, it's just like your weight just got a smidgen heavier. It's not a big thump like you would think, you know, worm fishing or jig fishing. It's a very light bite most of the time. Like right there, it was just a tick, 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 tick. I mean, that's all it was. Come here, buddy. Better fish. You know, that's one thing that I'm doing. I've got my drop shot Texas rigged, you know, just like I did in that grass video, but you know, I'm really kind of trying to target some of these brush piles. This lake's really clear, really deep. You know, you can see 8-10 foot down, and you know, that's why I've got it Texas rigged like that, because I'm really trying to target these brush piles. And I'm using a bigger bait than I normally would. You know, there's a 5-inch general, but there's just so many little fish in here, guys. I'm telling you, I'm getting murdered by little fish, so I'm using a bigger bait than I normally would, just trying to get a little bit bigger bite. There's a lot of little ones down there. I need to, oh, there's a bite right there. It was just a tick, that's all it was. That is so fun. Man, I've just sat and I caught 3 on back-to-back casts. The first one was a good one, and they've gotten smaller. But those fish are sitting right there and basically 19 feet of water right off the side of that brush pile. So I just backed off of it 10 feet and I'm just pitching right there to them. I can see them all out on the side imaging right there. Piles of them. Crappie, bluegill, and bass all mixed in together. There's another one. Oh, like a decent one. Oh yeah. Seeing so good in that clear water. Oh, look at the big one behind it. Oh, it was a big one. Golly, it was a big one. Get in there, fish. Get in there. Oh, it's a little big. Get in there, get in there. You probably would not see me swinging those things in if I was in a Major League Fishing tournament. I'm trying to land every one of them I can. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Probably you can see that fish go back down right here. Check this out. You can just see it going right back down to the water. Perfect example of it. Oh, there's one right there on the bottom. Get it rigged and get it down there to him. I know a question you guys are gonna have is, how do I have my unit set up? Man, I got those things in auto. I don't do a lot. I leave them in auto. Oh, and you know, when I get on a really clear lake like this and there's not a lot of particles in the water, I can bump that sensitivity up, you know, just a couple degrees. If I'm getting a lot of feedback, then I just bump that sensitivity down a little bit. But I leave everything in auto. The main thing is to make sure it's in shallow water mode. Your unit, your Lowrance comes preset in freshwater mode. All right, I'm gonna show you guys right here. So I hit menu, mode. The unit comes in freshwater. Basically, freshwater is 0 to 400 feet. I put it in shallow. That's 0 to 100 feet. I'm never fishing deeper than 100 feet. I've got my range in auto. I got my sensitivity in auto. There are a few times I'll just bump that up just a little bit, but you can see I'm starting to get all these particles in the water. Look at that fish right there underneath the boat. Let's see if I can catch him. Oh, he just went down on my bait. There's another fish. That's a decent fish. It's got 3 colors in it. That's something that I look for, is how many colors. Now he's swimming. The more colors you have in a fish, the bigger that fish is going to be. I got sidetracked. I was trying to show you guys something. I had a fish come right there to where I was at. But that's it, basically. Shallow water mode, sensitivity 0 to 1. You might bump it up just a little bit if you wanted to. Yeah, that's it. Got a lot of fish there. This transducer's in the back of my boat. Side imaging, these are all fish on my side imaging, basically underneath it. You know, we're not moving right now, so the side imaging's really smeared. If I was moving, that'd be a lot clearer, but I'm just sitting in one spot. I can't believe I didn't catch that fish. There's a, you know, and again, there's a really good example of my drop shot. I just lifted it up, dropped it down. So you can see, look at the color of that drop shot. If I hold it still, just perfectly underneath the cone, you know, just compare that to that. You know, that's just a little bit bigger than my worm, and that's my weight right there. So I just raised it, I just lowered it, raised it, lowered it. This is all behind the boat. You know, and realize this is all history, so this is what we're looking at, like right here. And just think about a cone, you know, it's the size, basically in 20 feet is roughly 6 feet wide. You know, I'm looking at a spot there 6 feet wide. That's pretty rough, but that's the general idea. It's a third of your depth. All right, I'm about 18. So that's my drop shot. Let's see if we can catch one. Oh, see that fish right there? Look at that. I'm sitting there talking. That couldn't have happened any better. And that fish just swam right in there. That's where I set the hook. And I pulled him all the way up, and this is him right there. I've been sitting here talking about it, and one swam over there and ate it. Thanks, buddy. You just made me look like a really big star. You're welcome, Edwin. All right, let's do that again. That's fun. That never gets old. Never gets old catching them. Never, ever, ever. I like it. But I do have a mess. Look at that. That's what happens when you let them flop around. Should I retie that? Yeah, I should, but if I can get it untangled, I'm not going to. Hey, I got it. I got it. I got it. Saw some on my down scan in the back. There's the bite. Oh, gosh darn it. I am horrible about not getting that line over in my spool. How many times have I set the hook today and my spool pops open? saw that one on that depth finder behind me, and I think it's a good one. I can't tell you guys how many of them I catch, you know, because probably because I'm going too fast. That's probably a big part of it. Trying to get to the next spot. It's a fat one. All right, buddy. Guys, I hope that helped. You know, I tried to really break down. He's got a tail sticking out of his mouth. I tried to really break down what they look like, you know, on my screen. So, got a question, you know, put it there in the comments. I'll try to get back to every one of them. You know, it may take me a little time, but I always try to get back to them. So, guys, I appreciate you watching a whole bunch. Hope you're having fun. Hope you're enjoying these. Yeah. That's how I look at them on my screens. That's how I got them set up. So tune in next week. We're going to be doing something real similar all again.